Cool. We are live. I'm so
Okay.
excited. What's good, everyone? I'm JJ, your host of Unstrapped Podcast. This is our first time going live. I'm so excited. I flew all the way out to Destin, Florida. I was invited by a really good friend that I met through the podcast. Episode 2 goes by B, also goes by Rue. And if you haven't checked out that episode, you should check it out. It's about serving our community as a masculine lesbian. I've had the pleasure to meet a lot of people in the household I'm in right now, but one person stood out. And so I had to drag their ass out from having fun. So hopefully you are entertained as I was entertained by their story. But let's get into it for a
Yeah.
second. So I already, my audience knows who I am already. Can you introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm Naomi. I'm Masc presenting as we see. Hold
Thank
on.
you. Nah, it's all good.
Because
The
we
drink is coming in.
flowing.
This is
This is
live.
real. Yeah,
This is
this is how
live.
we doing. I love it. There's a lot of love, a lot of energy. But my name's Naomi. I am Masc presenting. And I'm gonna go with the flow. I'm an open book. Whatever she wants to ask, whatever you all want to ask, I'm like, yo, let's go. Like all
I'm
the
here for
candor
it.
is here. Yeah, let's do it.
Just to get so the audience gets to know you a little bit
Yes.
better. Do you go by any pronouns? And if so, what are they?
Thank you. So I go by she, her, female.
All right, all right. I'm here for it.
Yeah.
If people wanted to follow you on social media, where would they find
Oh
you?
wow. Oh man, it's a few. So NLG.Naomi at YouTube. You can go there. I'm also on TikTok. That's also NLG Naomi. You can find me there as well. On Facebook, you can find me at Manasseh Proctor. So you can find me there. We can just keep it there for now.
No, I'm here
Yeah, we
for
keep
it.
it there for
Locked
now.
and loaded. You hear this? These are people
keep
that are prepared.
it. Yeah, keep it there.
Nah, but like I said, we out here in Destin, Florida. We actually are actively at a party
Yes, we
right
are.
now, right? We were having a battle of the
I'm talking about
DJs.
going in. It's been great.
It's been great. But, you know, we also had a really deep conversation despite
Yes.
being at a party for
Facts.
the 4th of July weekend here out in the States. So
Yeah.
what was cool is we spoke about an interesting topic. But before I even get
Yeah.
into that topic, I'm gonna do something that we normally do on the podcast. And of course, this sounds a little different because I'm not reading my normal 1-2 script, if you will. So we
Yeah.
going up the dome. So
Okay.
as a part of the podcast, we have this thing called the introduction, aka the word of the day.
Okay.
And so I did pick a word of the day out for you.
Oh, okay. I
And
like
the word
this
of the day is
quizzes.
no label. So what do you think no label means?
Exactly what you said. So it is an unbiased result of opinions that don't really exist outside of yourself. So what that means is all of us has our own justice system. We have our own moral compass. We have something that we personally stand by. That's like your label or conditions of like what you feel like you're going to live, what you're going to be, your truth. However, assigning that same procedure of operation to another soul, that's when you label them. Even if you don't put a title on it, you're projecting your reality to somebody else's who may not even understand that because of their process.
Right.
Doesn't mean that you're wrong or right. It just means that we all are living in this same world at different spaces and different places.
Right.
And what we adhere to is going to be different at different times. So no label really means no label. And I think as we progress in this, you'll understand why I say
I love that. I
that.
love
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
So keeping it going. If you're used to hearing the podcast, the introduction usually is me telling you about the show a little bit.
yeah.
But I just want to keep things going very
Cheers, by
naturally.
the way. Cheers.
Oh, cheers!
Shout
Also,
out. Shout out
we
to
we
JJ.
have some
JJ's
we
been
have some
great.
cold water in the cups, right? But on a serious note, word of the day. Word of the day is an opportunity on my podcast
Oh wow,
where
okay.
I know that when I came out the closet, no one gave me a playbook on how to do what I got to do, right?
Right.
Including all of these words and terminology, and especially
Yeah.
if you consider yourself an old head in the game,
Listen, it's like
it's
what
hard to
is
keep up with all the
happening? Yeah,
words,
what is
right?
happening right now?
Big facts. So like, I'm gonna humble myself by every episode. I choose a word that
Okay.
I either don't know well or don't know at all, and
Okay.
I see if, what my guest knows about it. In your case,
Oh no.
you was given expert. You was given expert. I'm gonna
Okay.
say already know you're gonna be the longest answer yet, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean
Yeah.
that you are thoughtful and you understood that specific
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
terminology. But
Yeah.
here's the definition I got,
Okay. Thank you.
which is just used by some mask lesbians to reject strict identity boxes, especially in like certain spaces. You know what I mean?
Right,
And so I
right.
feel like you hit it right on the head.
Okay.
My experience with no label is recent. Oh, mind y'all, I really said we out in Florida. We out in like a private
We
neighborhood and
outside
people in and out, people next door. So you're gonna hear all types of shit
walking
today.
to the
But
beach.
my experience with no label is new. It's
Okay.
not an old school term that I'm used to.
Okay.
I'm used to a younger generation using no label. And I'm not gonna lie, I was very confused by it because I'm not saying you need to have a label. I just didn't realize labels were seen negatively, if that makes sense.
Right.
Because
Okay.
for me, I'm big on education, right? I don't mind being labeled by things. I
Yeah.
just like to choose what label I have. That's
Right.
where my energy is. But choosing no label is still kind of a confusing place to me.
Okay.
How do you feel about that?
I was about to say, explain that idea. For me, I love no label because it gave me the freedom to be what I am in in the moment, in the present. Like in so what I mean by that is,
Right.
if a person is a mother, is she still not, if she believes in spirituality, a priestess of a home? If she's a wife and a priestess of a home and a mother, is she not still a wife?
Mm,
If she's a professional, is she not a professional, a wife, a priestess of a home, and still a mother? So then, how do you operate underneath that typecast? It's like what a person is in present is what they are in the
yeah.
moment. And if you can take that and build on that in every relationship, you'll begin to see a person for who they are and all they are, and not just in a singular label and just this is what it is. You know what I'm
Where
saying? Yeah, yeah. There's no
I'm
freedom in
over
that.
there smiling because a former person and star on Unstrapped the podcast is to the left of me. I'm not gonna bother them right now, but I'm just saying somebody that we
Think they're gonna
know
peep through.
You ain't got to bother me.
intimately.
Whoa, what's going
What's
on?
Listen,
good,
great
fam?
energy too.
We
Listen,
got Rue in the building. We got Rue in the building. They're the ones who invited me out to Destin
same
to
here.
hang out with them, they family,
Yeah,
they
same here.
friends, and allowed Unshut the
It's
podcast to go
love for
live.
real.
But yeah, no, I love your take on no label.
Yeah, yeah.
The next thing we get into on the podcast is called temperature check. It's a
Okay,
time for us to talk about what's top of mind for us in this moment in our lives. I
okay.
know that's a big thing, but you can take it as big or small as you want to.
Yeah.
So, what's top of mind for you nowadays?
Truthfully, my book. It's every day.
You got a book. Let's let's
I'm right. I'm
let's
right.
hear it.
I'm writing one. It's not done
You're
yet.
writing,
I'm,
but you're
I'm
a
writing a
writer.
few. I'm actually writing five. So this sounds crazy,
Okay, no, let's hear it.
you know. I don't know every other writer's story how they do it, but for me, I started out writing a whole book that is curated in history, spiritual influence, historical facts, and then just personal ideals.
Right.
I reference it all and I combine it in a place where people can be able to find an unbiased opinion with all the information that I could find on one topic.
When did you
And
start this?
this was a year and a half ago. So now I've been studying like since no, I'm not even exaggerating, since I was 12. I'm building a library. We talked about that. I
Yeah.
am wanting to bring information into the community that isn't readily accessible
Right.
because the condition of society a lot of times is to I'm gonna teach you where I want you to go, what I want you to look at, and who I want you to kind of come under command, versus the free thinking and be what you want to be who you are, think how you would like to think, and function under still a moral compass in that.
So would it be safe to say what you're writing and curating isn't just one topic per se, but it's more so like your learnings and you regurgitating that out into the world for the people who need it.
Yes, and then along that journey, because I had so much access, it opened my mind to thinking outside those boxes and then those boxes and then those boxes.
Okay.
And so it's like, if I'm thinking outside of these boxes, somebody else was in these boxes before I was. Let me pull information from there and bring it back to a people who may never even explore that box, but you want to know the information in that box.
So what inspired you to go the book route? There's a
It
lot of different ways you
is.
could have
It is.
put that out, but like
Truthfully, inner. It was kind of like an inner. How can I reach the masses and be effective,
right.
but then give them something that they can tangibly have forever? So if you got the book and didn't read it today, but then when it register to you, hey, I'm in this process. I bought this book. Let me tap into this moment in my life and pour and see what this will pour into me. There's a lot of books that I've bought that I didn't read till 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's one book right now I still have. It was one of my first books gifted to me. I still have not read it. I've had it since I was 21 years old. 20 years ago.
Okay,
Still ain't read it.
that's
Okay.
okay.
So it's one of those things where when it connects, then I allow it to withdraw or pour into me. And I think that everybody has that in
Well,
them.
when you are even a part done, halfway done, fully done, I mean this. I would love to bring you back on and let's talk about
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Let's
for
let's
sure.
get into it. Cause
Yeah.
why not?
Yes, I would
Why
love
not?
that. Yeah.
Top of mind for me right now is I don't know if you've ever had this feeling before, and you might be able to relate because I feel like I've gotten to know you deeply very
Yeah,
quickly
yeah, yeah,
today.
for sure. Yeah.
Like we've been here all weekend, but like today we really got to speak, and
Yeah.
um, really think deeply about the connections I've made and the connections I've lost, right?
Okay.
And top of mind for me today because of how incredible this weekend is and how loving it's been with everyone.
Yeah.
I sometimes look back at my past with former friends, maybe former best friends, and I
Okay.
wonder, you know, were those relationships good for me at that time or ever?
Mm,
And if they weren't, is that why I enjoy myself when I am around some good folk now? And I know that
mm.
sounds real deep, and you would
That's
think
great
that I'm not thinking
reflection.
like that right now, but I
Yeah.
promise you, I sit back and I'm like, damn, I love the space I'm in right now. I'm
Yeah.
around some really dope folks. It happens to be like a Greek house right now, so like
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
there's like a whole sorority up in here as well.
It
But
is.
you know, I'm really enjoying myself, and
Mm-hmm.
in me enjoying myself, I can't help but to think about like what is stopping me from having moments where I'm this happy around people all the time?
Mm.
And is it me? Is it others? It's a combination of both. What is that?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's what's top of mind for me. It's not a negative thought, right? It
Yeah,
may come off
yeah.
negative, but for real, like
Very
for me, it's just
reflective.
more so like, am I putting myself in the best spaces possible?
Yeah,
And if I'm not, what do I need to do to make that happen? Because
yeah,
I really want to get the most out of life. I believe everyone wants to.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That's great. That's so reflective because you
it
can't
is.
pull out of life. I feel like what I mean when I say pull out, if you go into a basket and you reach in and you don't know what's in it, you're gonna pull out whatever it is. There's no intention in it.
Right.
You know what I mean? When you go into it with reflectiveness, the intention when you come out that basket is something very intentional. Very so
Yeah.
you're going to pull something out that's going to impact you, even if it has a different flavor to the seeds you thought, a different casing. Sometimes we think things should come this way and then it comes in another form, but the seed is still the same. It impacts is still the same. It still grows that edification tree. You know what I
Right.
mean? Yeah.
I have a habit, and it might be toxic. I'm gonna keep it a bean. Like, so I'm not gonna lie. It might
Yeah.
be toxic, but I'm gonna say it. I have a habit of sometimes having really good moments like this, like what we
Yeah.
having out
Yeah.
here, and like being tempted, or actually going straight up and reaching out to people in my past that
Oh,
I might have cut off, they have cut me off,
listen.
just out of curiosity to see what's up.
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity to see what's up.
Yeah.
And I do it really with all the positive intentions I can muster
Yeah.
because I'm just curious.
Yeah. Yeah.
I also genuinely believe that people change.
True. They do.
They change what like with real intention, like, oh, I'm trying to change this about myself or that
Hmm.
about myself. But I also think that, life experiences you go through enough, it will evolve you
Yeah.
or devolve you.
Right.
Depends on the situation.
Right. Right.
And so like I'm always just thinking like, is it worth it going to that past and like getting going to the
Mm.
old, or should I live life moving forward? Right, I'm 32 now. Should I just continue life and just keep moving forward and never looking back?
Whew. So
I
I
know it's loaded, but like I
no,
said,
but I
it's a real
got you. I'm
podcast.
with you.
I'm really
I
about
got
that.
I got two ideals because
Okay.
I've lived in both.
Okay.
So I don't believe in circling back because if you circle back, that means you're still in back.
Okay.
What I mean is you never left to begin with, even though you might have left. So it's a statement that says you can't take like you can take a person out of the hood, but you can't take the hood out of the person.
That's a fact.
What I mean is like your train of thinking, your mindset, your ideas. Like sometimes we go places because we're ready to go, but there's still a undoing that we're still processing through in other spaces. So something like I told to give you better clarity, I told my lady one time, I said, when I had to move and transition into a healed space, I had to take my body with me, but my body was separated from my mind. I had to take
Mm.
my mind with me. My mind was separated from my body. I had to take my spirit that was separated from my mind. You understand?
Right.
Because some of us we're good mentally. We can wake up in the morning, face on, but in our spirit, broken. So how do you heal a spirit that knows how to perform physically?
Right.
So your spirit got to go through an unwinding. And sometimes for me, the going back is not going back. It's like your spirit telling you there's a tape that you're still playing that you got to work through. So I don't look at it like going back. It's like if you thinking about it, you haven't left,
Okay.
right?
And I definitely
Because
most
your spirit
I
doesn't
definitely
lie to
haven't
you.
left.
You know
And
what I
you're right.
mean? You know what I'm saying? Like now the other part of that is when you leave, you made a decision to leave
Right.
for a reason. So the calculation of looking back can also be reflection to grow you, to be watering, and to be nourishment to you, maturing in the mistake that we call, but it's really growth.
Right.
Fertilizer smells like crap, but it helps it grow. It gives you that strength to be able to prosper in your next space, but also not take for granted the space you just came out of, that if you hadn't gone through that, you would be weakened in this next stronger stage that you need to preside in.
Okay.
So it's like it's both to me. I don't think you can go back, and I don't think you can move forward without reflecting where you came from so that you can grow. So that's why I said it's
I love
two-sided.
that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
Because
appreciate
I've
that.
done both. Like it's just
It's hard.
yeah,
It is
it's
hard.
both, man. Come on.
Right. But let's keep things going.
Okay.
So normally on the pod when we do offline recordings,
Yeah.
I have a section called doom scrolling. And doom scrolling is this idea that like we just talk about what would you find on our social media accounts or what are we passionate about in the news. So out of curiosity, when you scrolling through
Doom.
whatever social media you prefer, whether it's TikTok or
Yeah.
Instagram, etc., like how would you describe what you see, or have you seen anything interesting as of late that you like, yo, this is
Y'all see
funny
my
as
face?
hell
Okay.
or thought provoking?
Woo. So first of all, I used to tell people, I think I still say it. I think now I'm gonna say I'm a scripture theorist. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm a scripture theorist. I'm a historian theorist. I'm a
Mm,
factual theorist. Because conspiracies, the way they have, when you look up the definition, they create it to be a lie. It's a crafted lie, when in reality it's a person that's looking for the truth behind the lie,
mm,
behind the mirror, behind what they were told. It's asking the question why. A lot of people want you to take information as this is what it is, when behind it is a motive. It's a seed, and the plant would be nothing without the dead seed that died in the ground. Like how can
mm.
that tree ever be without that acorn? Like
That's a
how
fact.
so you need to know about that acorn. Was it defected? Was it put in the right soil? It's so much to behind the line.
So would you say your social media is mostly like different like channels
Philosophers,
of like education that you're just like scrolling through and being like,
philosophers.
I
I don't know. Can we say names on your
oh,
podcast
oh for
without?
sure. That's fine.
So
I ain't gonna get sued. As long as I don't get sued, that's fine.
okay, hey, no pun intended. Joe Rogan. It's one that a lot of people.
Really interesting.
Joe Rogan. I listen to
Very
Joe.
controversial.
It
I mean, I'm
is,
not saying it. Let's be clear. I
but
don't know ish about Joe Rogan, but what I've heard and
it's a
seen,
lot.
but
It's one of
very
those
controversial.
back in the cut. And the reason I listen to it is because he has a multicultural casting, who he interviews. It's like you go from Cat Williams to Elon Musk
Very.
to some homeless man off the street, like real talk that don't nobody know, to the Trump president if he could be there. And it's topics that he throws out, and he's like, "Yo, do you believe in aliens? Let's talk about it."
Right.
And then you get in their perspective, people that you see and you look up to or you admire, you realize their brain, and you go, "Wow." what you act like isn't who you are. And then you start to be able to dig in and connect with these thoughts and ideas.
Do you feel like from the information you consume specifically from him,
Yeah.
do you think he has like a strong bias that he just leans on? Or do
Woo.
you feel like he
Interesting.
tries really hard to ride the fence, try to be neutral?
It's the neutral
You think he's
because
neutral?
he does a lot of question and answer. So he throws out the question, they answer, and he goes, interesting. Y'all look up Joe Rogan and tell me how many times you hear interesting in this podcast. They were
Right.
like, yo, that dude said interesting 119 times. It's a, let me throw it out there, see how many fish I can catch. You know what I mean?
Facts.
Like I feel like that's how Cat Williams spilled all his beans. He didn't really, the interviewer didn't talk much. It's kind of like what you do. It was like, let me ask this question. Let me let them pour out the
I
beans.
love you brought that up. The Cat Williams interview. If you don't know what we're talking about, he did a interview. It was last year at this point,
Yeah,
right?
it was Shay
It,
Shay a year ago. Yeah.
this was the Shay Shay.
Mm-hmm.
Is it called the Shay Shay Show? I
Shay
always forget
Shay
what it's
Shum. I
called.
just know it's Shay Shay.
All I know is Cat Williams did an epic interview, and I get that you can say a lot of interviews by
Yeah.
major celebrities are big, but this one was major because Cat Williams decided to at some point last year just air out
Just do a
tons of
tell
dirty
all.
laundry of
Yeah.
some of the biggest celebrities. I don't know if we even still call it in Hollywood, but online, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
right? The new generation will just
Mm-hmm.
call it online.
Yeah.
And to this day, and I've been keeping track that much, everything Cat Williams said about every celebrity out there was had to be true because
Mm-hmm.
no one rebuked it.
Nope. There was no suing. And we got to see it because he claimed that last year was going to open up, be the first year of opening up a can of worms.
Yeah,
We had no idea the type of worms that was going to be open, and then it went from that to 2025, more can of worms. It's just the can is still popped.
it's insane.
It is. You don't even have to watch fiction no more. As a matter of fact, there is no conspiracy theories. If you don't have a friend that's conspiracy theorist at this point, I feel like you don't know what's going on.
Right. You need people in your life who question things, but you need people in your life who stay open minded
Yeah,
still,
yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's the ones who are like question things and like won't stop questioning without like a pause.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the conspiracy theorists that we tend to be scared by.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but in this case,
Yeah.
I would even say the conspiracies. I think it's been enough time since that interview dropped that if people wanted to say something about it, they would have did it.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's open
Man,
forum now.
jumping over to me right now.
Yeah.
It's funny I was bringing it up. Since I'm live, y'all can see. Sometimes I do bring up things on my phone. Something I've been scrolling hard on
Yeah.
is a Facebook group specifically called Just Lesbians.
Okay.
And I'm gonna be honest, right? When I started this podcast, my goal was to bring masked people, masked lesbians together and kind of just talk about our day to day, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because we have stories, yes, and everyone has a story, but ours is unique to our identity sometimes, or if not all the time.
Yeah. For
And
sure.
we don't even think about it like that because it's our day to day.
Yeah.
And so, starting the podcast, I was like, I need to be more in tune with what's happening with all the gays, all right?
Yeah.
Specific lesbians. And there's this one lesbian group on Facebook called Just Lesbians with multiple N's and S's. And, you know, so I'm not going to lie, it's almost like a Q&A page because if you scroll
Okay.
enough, you'll always find like a question. And the number one questions are like from femmes to studs.
Okay.
And I'm just curious, like,
Let's go.
let's see if we find one real quick. Let's see. We're going to take a quick pause.
Yeah.
Right? First one I see. This one is by Let's Be Honest 10.
Okay.
They say, I love my stud, but TBH, to be honest, I'm not used to eating stud coochie. LOL.
Okay.
Anyway, we got drunk and I got down there and it was hairy. Like thick, all caps hairy. And
Ooh.
it stinked a little bit. Ooh. Now I'm traumatized to try again. I know the stank was from her hair. And she
Mm.
said she was shaved, but I don't know. I'm just forever turned off now. What do I do? What do you mean? What do you do? But if you had to
Yeah.
give this person advice, what are their next steps, fam?
All right. Are they dating them or they just this is just
I
a
mean,
hookup?
I don't know, but it sounds like they was willing to go down, so that's a big step.
All right. let's talk about just health safety physically. So a stench, a smell, anything extra than soap and water, it smells clean. You
Mm-hmm.
know, there is first conversation is hygiene to me. Next conversation, if this wasn't just a random hookup that you was just kicking to the curb, if this was your boo, it's like hygiene, then these are the things I need and require for you so that me and you can continue in our sexual exploration.
Right. Right.
Because without it, like it's gonna be a discouraging situation for you and me,
And
you
that's a
know,
grown
for real.
moment, right?
Yeah,
And here's the
yeah,
grown part of what you just said. It's the let's have a conversation about this if I love you. And if this is just a hookup, like, all right, we gotta move a little differently.
mm-hmm.
And I would say the same thing. I feel like if this was a random hookup, like, nah, we parting ways, like you go this way, I go this way,
Right.
hard left. But if it was someone I loved and cared about, it's more so like, all right, let's not make you feel bad. Let's not make it awkward. Let's not be disrespectful, but let's also not say something.
Like, is it skill or will? Did everybody you was with, are they from a different culture that prefers women with hair?
Right.
Like, what are we talking about right now? Like, if this your boo, it's like we need this to be one of those educational moments of it. We got to explore this idea because we don't know.
Right.
We don't know
And,
where it's coming from.
and let's keep it real, right? Like everyone has their sexual preferences and you
Yes.
deserve them. You have every right to uphold them.
Right.
I think you should communicate them
Absolutely.
before you even start messing with someone. But look, we've been there. We've been there, done that.
Mm-hmm. Facts.
In my head, though, it's kind of like in this situation in particular, it's like I feel like I already know they don't love them because you wouldn't be on Facebook with it.
Mm, got you. Because you got putting them
Why you gotta ask anonymously on Facebook
like you like what
about
is
someone
the
else coochie?
psychological behind, yeah, the psychology behind, like what are you really doing right now?
So for me, that's not love,
That's real because you
right?
ain't putting your boo on blast.
But let's say you really did. You still maybe a conversation was had. There's a lot of missing context, but I
Right.
just feel like you still should start with the person you're with,
Yes.
and that's out of respect for them and
Hmm.
yourself.
Yes. 100%.
And if they feel uncomfortable by it, they were never supposed to have that conversation,
Facts. That's
and that's
it.
not your fault. That's a them problem.
Facts. I agree.
That's
100%.
funny. Now another quick one, and I'll do one more,
Excuse
and
me.
then we'll
Yeah.
jump into the next thing. But
Absolutely.
this one says, "Why do lesbian girls use dildos if they do not like dick?"
Because the actual device that you use sexually has nothing to do with the connection with the individual you're having sex with.
You just giving
Period.
right answers. It's team right
Like,
answers.
period. Like, what we talking? This is real, and you know that. Like, I have being a person that is not a receiver of that. Not for listen. It's a new day and age. I can't keep up with it. I'm what they would call a V stud, virgin stud. I don't know what you want to call
Oh
me,
wait,
old
they
school.
called them.
I only been with women type.
I
I
haven't
don't
used
know.
this. I don't think I've used this on the
What's the
podcast.
name
That's
for
called a
me?
gold star lesbian.
I'm a gold star. There we go. I didn't know this. 2025, I have moved to a gold star. Okay.
Gold star fam.
So I don't discriminate against what people sexually, because listen, my story is a reason why I was like that. It was a process. So I'm not knocking anybody who's open and active and very connected to their femininity because like we were talking about today, I'm kind of going a little left. I'm sorry, but
That's fine,
we
fam.
were talking about how Masc, we were the old school.
Right.
We were presented with a table that was very Masc in positioning. And a lot of us were equipped with being that full independent woman and taking care of another independent woman. And it's a lot. And a lot
It
of
is a lot.
times, feminine women don't know that we carry both the full package of a woman and the traits of masculinity because I don't want to offend anyone in the community. So I'm not gonna go past that point right now. It's because of my story. But there's a point of recognizing that all of us as women, trans, all right, I was an F to M, Okay, so this is no, like this is my journey. I learned that at the baseline of who I am, I still have to acknowledge the little girl that I was that played on a playground, even though I recognized later at some point that I thought I was supposed to be whatever it was I thought I need to be, or I am realizing I am this,
Right.
whatever. Okay, there's a process to it, and acknowledging doctors told me to discredit the Naomi in me, right? Erase it.
Right.
Let everybody learn who you are, he, him, like. But then there was 20 years, 25 years of me with woman, feminine, female experiences.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you have me take a, so I was born at 25? I'm not Eve. So then when you deal with the, and this came from my healing journey, okay, which is a whole nother thing. We might need to do a part two. I don't know.
No,
But
we bringing you back on, fam. We already know this is about to be
but
recorded and unrecorded.
yeah,
Like,
yo, listen,
right,
it's a journey of self-discovery. You talked about identity, and when you find yourself in who you are and not based on a gender. She started with labels, titles, conditions. Just, I'm here, this is life, this is where I landed. What do I want to do with it? How do I want to experience it? How does where I am make me feel? Acknowledging all the good or the bad, whatever we call that good or bad, because everybody's good or bad is different too,
right.
right? It's all just your human experience so that you can bring life to every party versus death. I always say this statement. I think my whole family knows it by now. And I say, you can't give what you don't have, right? You can only give what you possess. So if a person is anxious, they're probably going to give anxiety, knowingly or unknowingly.
Mm.
If a person is love, they walk in a room and you just, it's just something about them and you want to, it's what you have, you give. What you don't have, you cannot give. I promise. Even if you feel like, if you say, I never received love, but I give love to everybody. Just because you didn't receive it don't mean you ain't been giving it to yourself and you don't have it.
Mm-hmm.
And let's say you ain't been giving it to yourself properly. There's a creator that's been giving it to you.
That's a fact.
You always have what you give. You can't give it if you don't. Please, somebody show me a way that you gave somebody something that you didn't have. Even if a person loaned it to you, it's in your hand. You can't give it unless you have it. Everything.
Man, I
It's a, you
appreciate
know,
this.
yeah, for
Man,
sure,
no, we
for
bringing you
sure,
back on. That's a
for
fact.
sure.
I'm finding you wherever you are.
Yeah,
We
please.
we don't play
It's
these games
family. Yeah,
here.
yeah, yeah.
I just want to jump into because you already hitting it right on the head. So we're gonna jump into what we call doom scrolling. Or
Okay.
not doom scrolling, sorry, I already said that.
Yeah,
My
you did,
bad,
but I
y'all.
know we was going
We
to part two.
have been drinking a smidge, but
Water.
water. Because it's hot out here in Florida.
Very hot. You see the,
Um
oh,
the big section of our podcast is called I So Boom.
hmm,
Night So Boom, if you don't know, or if you're watching and you don't know what that means, in New York, when we're about to tell a long-winded story, and this is mostly people from
yes.
the hood, not gonna lie, it's mostly people of color that say this, but you're about to start a long-winded story, something epic. You usually start off by the story by saying "I so boom" or "All right so boom." When someone
Oh,
has
all
asked
right. So
me,
boom.
when someone has asked me
Okay.
what that meant, like "All right so
Yeah, yeah,
boom,"
I got it.
the so
Yeah.
boom still doesn't make sense, but
Yeah.
fine, right? But I so boom. So
All
I
right.
so boom is a part of the podcast where we really get into the topic of the day.
Okay.
Now, in our case, I didn't start off by saying what the topic of the day is, but I already know what it's going to be because we had a really great
Yeah, yeah,
conversation.
yeah.
And given the word of the day, I think it's only right for us to talk about what it feels like to be labeled a man.
Woo.
And so I'm going to start it off first because I know
Please.
your story
Please.
is thicker than
I'm gonna
most
stay in one
porridge or
lane.
oatmeal or whatever. You know what I
I'm gonna
mean?
stay in one lane.
So I'm gonna give you your space, but I'm gonna kind of
Yes,
chime in a
please.
little bit.
Yeah, let me listen.
So you know what's interesting is like I want to say my identity as a masculine lesbian was probably dating back to like when I first came out the closet around 18, 19.
Okay.
Because I've always been a tomboy, because that's always been the label.
Mm-hmm. That's what I
I was
started
always
to.
a tomboy, And that was a label I was given, right? We didn't get to choose a label. We just
Right.
got them.
Facts.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Figured out.
But I was always labeled a tomboy, but I embraced that,
Mm. Mhm.
right? And I mentioned a past episode that like the moment I really knew I was masculine presenting, not necessarily a man, but I was masculine
Yeah.
presenting, is when I got into corporate. Because then I had to really be aware about what I chose in the corporate world in terms of dress.
I know what you're talking
And
about.
I won't get into all of that, but like that's the moment where I'm like,
It
no,
changes the game for
this
you.
is like a specific lifestyle that I'm living. Clearly,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not just me being a lesbian, but something a little bit more.
Yeah.
So like with that being said, fast forward, I've been out and about for a couple of years dating feminine women
Mm-hmm.
left and right. I technically, and I will say this for the first time out loud, um, but my fiance knows this. I technically dated someone who was masked, but I'm
Okay.
not a stud for stud, mask for mask. It just happened to be that like I was in a poly situation, and I'll get into
Yeah.
that deeper in another episode, or maybe your next episode,
Yeah. 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 For sure. That would be
where
dope.
I was, pulled into a poly situation. I'm not poly, but I was pulled into a situation,
Yeah.
and I was dating two women, both of them lesbians.
Yeah.
They were dating each other prior.
Okay.
One was masculine, one was feminine.
Okay.
But when we were dating, as the three of us, the masculine person flipped, and she was more femme.
Oh,
So that's interesting.
not you softened her pillow.
Softened her pillow. That should have been the title of the episode, fam.
Wow.
But yeah, I'm gonna get
And
into that
fluffed
at
it
another
too.
episode. Y'all not getting all my secrets in one
That's
episode.
great. Yeah.
But point is, I went through this whole life of kind of being masculine presenting, just never saying it out loud.
Yeah.
Last year, I decided to shave my head. I'm clearly bald, right? My Unstrapped the podcast, TikTok, YouTube, all of these channels, they don't even see me bald.
Yeah.
I have severe alopecia, scarring
Oh
alopecia.
wow. Okay.
So I was losing all my hair, but I was able to hide it for a while. But I
Okay.
said, you know what? I'm such a confident person in myself. How
Bruce.
dare I let this hair be the last thing that makes me not feel good
Come
about
on.
myself?
Listen. What is
I
come
was like, why am I
on?
doing that to myself? So I've
Yeah.
shaved it. I was so happy when I saw myself bald because I got a smooth head. Shout out to mom. I got a small, smooth head. But now I'm dealing with something I didn't think about prior to
Oh
shaving.
yeah. I know where
When
you're
I
going.
when I shaved my head, I thought everyone was gonna think I was sick, like maybe I had cancer or some
Hmm.
shit. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
Right.
But I just didn't want people asking me stupid questions like that.
Yeah.
What I didn't prepare for was knowing that I now present as a masculine man, not a masculine lesbian, but
Hmm.
I am now a black man until people take an
That's how you
extra moment
perceived. Yep.
to be like, actually, I think that's a woman.
Yeah.
I think,
Hmm.
and that's cool. I love being androgynous, but I'm now a little bit on the scared side to be out in certain places because people who are scared of black men, and it's an irrational fear. It's such an irrational fear,
You
but
get
it's a
it.
fear. It's a fear. It's a huge fear, especially here in the States.
Hmm.
Even in this state we are in right now,
Especially in
being a
this
black
state.
man, it is scary. And I've never had to live my life as a black man.
Right.
But recently, and I was telling you about this a little earlier, I went to a pride event where a man, I'm just gonna call him Chad, approached me, didn't say anything to me, but was really angry. His body language was angry, his voice was
Mm.
angry, and I didn't understand why he was coming towards me, but he didn't say anything to me, he didn't touch me. It wasn't that serious. But I knew his energy was pointed to me, and
Yeah.
the surrounding area, like I had my fiance with me, we were
Mm.
sitting, chilling, minding our goddamn business.
Yeah.
There were some kids in front of us, they were drawing, coloring, whatever, and there was a mom. And the man turns over to the woman, who I'm just referring to as mom,
Yeah.
and and is like, "Are you okay?" Screaming, like it was so aggressive, like he was coming to her rescue as if there was something actively happening.
Yo.
Now we didn't speak to these kids, we didn't speak to this woman, we didn't speak to this man, but his eyes were locked in on me, and I
Yeah.
just knew in my heart, like there was a chill. That's how I described it. There was a chill that ran through my body. I can't tell you what it caused
Yeah.
it, but I just knew something bad was going to happen.
Right. 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 Of course.
And I had to really reflect on what was happening as quickly as I could
Yeah.
because I'm like, is this a fight or flight situation? I'm not a fighter.
Mm.
I'm not here to like scrap. I don't act like I can fight. I'm not here to scrap with people. Like
Yeah, yeah.
I don't want to verbally scrap with you. I don't want to physically scrap with you. But like I had a different fear that I haven't had
It's
as a
real.
masculine presenting lesbian.
Yeah,
And when I realized, I was like, he thinks I'm a black man,
that's it. The
and
lights
that
cut
is
on.
scary.
It is. It is.
Because
It's a legit thing.
Lord knows what was going on in his mind. You thought your children was in danger.
Hmm.
You thought your wife was in danger. Why do you think you're in danger?
Right. Like what happened that made except for what you see?
And that one moment, and that happened, a couple of weeks ago,
Yeah.
has instilled a new fear in me.
Yeah. Mm.
That now, when I walk into a grocery store, a restaurant, a bar, I'm like, which one do they see?
Mm.
And and I'm ready. Am I ready to protect myself?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Am I
I
ready to protect
listen.
myself? That has effed me up for the past couple of weeks, man. And
Wow.
I'm not gonna cry on live, but like
That's real.
I feel that strong about it.
Yeah.
I've never been scared. I grew up in the hood. I watch people beat each other up for fun. I have a friend who died in a drive-by shooting right in front of me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've seen dead bodies in weird situations.
Yeah.
Shit you not, this is the first time I felt that scared. Because
Can I,
the
can I chime
idea
in a
of
little
it,
bit,
yeah.
Idea? I think from experiencing it too, just to chime in and kind of piggyback, I got pulled over recently. They said that my light on my license plate was out. It was something simple at night. The man called back up. All these guys was a pair complexion. The one who pulled me over was shaking when he was getting my license, shaking with the man was on the passenger door with his hand on his shoulder,
Yeah,
supporting him. And I was like, when I saw the third car pull up, I said, what's about to happen?
right.
I look like a black man. Yeah, please let them
Mm.
look at the bottom of my license and see the F. You
And they
know,
and they do
and
that double
then
take, right? They be like,
right,
mm,
and then
mm.
even then, because society, our president, laws change. You don't know if which one is the worst. Looking like you're a man because, and they figure out you're female, and now you're in the category of do y'all hate LGBT
Right,
or do y'all hate black men more?
right.
And the psychological, like, what do I do?
Yeah, it's a mind fuck, especially when
What do I
queer
say?
people is against your life and religion. That's one mind fuck. But then when you
What
can't tell who you talking to,
you don't know them.
excuse me,
You,
interacting with, that's a whole nother
you
thing.
don't know them, and you're like, oh my god. At the end of the day, the worst of the two, and this is what I think you're getting at.
Right,
This is crazy, y'all. Y'all gonna think it's crazy, but being a black male presenting is scarier than being anything LGBTQIA all the way down to Z because there's a family within that community that no matter what, you've seen it in 12 years how they've been able to change rights and how black men have not been able to do it yet.
right.
Black women,
It's a different conversation.
I give it to you, but I'm talking about the men. And there is a hate. My point is the fear you feel. I felt the hate and the fear from them, that police
Right.
moment, that made me go, Naomi, what do we do if they pull you out the car? If they are angry, they beat you up, they treat you like a man, they know you're a
Right.
woman, they rape you,
Mm-hmm.
they turn off their cameras. I have thought about all of it.
Damn.
Okay, because of my story too, I know that men's aggressiveness can come out in physical anger and the fist and hand and arms,
Right.
or it can come out in their penal area of aggression,
Mm-hmm.
fist, hand, and arms.
Right.
It's still all physical. They're getting out this aggression, and you never know. You just don't know. And so I have always been like what you said, like I've experienced in other areas, but this was recent. Like I literally had to go to court for a ticket because of this.
And
Like, and it's not nothing I did wrong. It's just
and it's
being pulled
unfortunate.
over because you look like you could be something that you not. Your car's too good.
Mm-hmm.
You just I don't know what it is. We be coming up
I,
with things in our
I
minds. I don't
sometimes
know.
wish
Yeah.
we could quickly communicate what is going through our minds
Yeah.
in these situations to the person that we're
Understands like,
concerned about. I wish
dude,
we could.
we're just as scared as you, but we're scared only because of you.
Right.
Without you, there is no fear of driving down this highway. And I'm not scared because I did anything wrong. I'm scared because in doing any wrong, I don't know what you see in me that is wrong that will calculate your next step to treating me like I'm wrong. Like
And it's like a
it's
cold war.
yeah, it's
Because
just
I'm not
crazy psychological war.
because what I will say, right? I like to play devil's advocate all the time. And that's
Yeah,
because that keeps me grounded and humbled and aware of how to deal with situations.
yeah,
I'm not saying what that man was dealing with in my situation wasn't fear. I'm not
right.
gonna take away their experience. I'm a judge it. I'm
Yeah,
a judge it, but
yeah. Because it could be
that's a real
hate too.
feel. It can be hate. It
It
can
could
be
be hate
pure
too.
hate.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And hate is scary
About
too.
it's still a strong emotion. That is their reality. If only we could take more efforts to like chime
Get
into
to
that
know each. Just get to know
word.
each other. Yeah.
What's good, fam? Bless your
Ooh,
soul. Cause you know I've been thinking about
wow.
that food in the back. I'm a little
Now she
jelly.
know I done got fed.
Because for
Ah.
y'all, we are not
Thank you,
eating. I
y'all.
mean, I don't need to eat a lot. I'm clearly like half of this live right now, but excuse me as I eat shrimp. Bussin'. We're having a quick shrimp break, courtesy of Rue. Rue
This
can
is
cook.
so good.
They ass off.
I know this is like my sister right now is like, you don't even eat shrimp. I do tonight. Oh, this is good.
Bless your heart.
This is good, yo.
Bless your heart.
Make sure you tell. Thank you. Please tell your mama. Shit.
I love that.
That is good. Oh,
Damn
she
y'all.
told me that she cooked. My sister can brew. Like she
Yeah.
can throw that. She said she cooks like my sister, and I was like, I can't wait to taste with it because I don't eat a lot of things. But when a certain person cook it and with
Well,
love,
facts.
you be like, let me get that. Ooh, that was good.
Nah,
Excuse
Rue's
me. I know I ain't supposed to eat that.
Rue is
Don't judge me.
representing New Orleans so hard. I'm so happy for them. All the food
Yeah,
they've been pushing, even basic stuff like chip dip is in fire. I'm sorry,
yeah.
y'all. I know y'all here for a podcast, but
She plugged in.
we are blessed in this household because the food in here is
We've
immaculate.
been eating
Immaculate.
good breakfast, lunch, dinner.
Crazy. Well, anyway, fam, kind of
Yeah,
jumping into it. So, like, kind of that's been my recent experience. But the reason why I drag you behind out the
I love
party
it.
is because there's something unique about you. I described myself, right? My people already know, like, I'm a dark skinned, bald person with some big titties, basically,
Yeah, yeah,
right? Can you describe to people that are not watching but only hearing you?
yeah.
What about you in your
Mm,
appearance
wow.
is triggering potentially the situations that, like the one you described, happening?
So give them like a visual
Right.
of who I am.
If you described yourself
Who I
visually,
am.
how would you do so?
To a person that can't see me, I am a light bright. So
Light bright.
I look like I should get a tan, but I have one. I am of Indian descent on both sides of my family. So a lot of people assume that I may be mixed or Rican, and that's neither. It is really Indian, like for real. Um, I am a very so a lot of people get consumed because you notice I'm health conscious,
Right.
which is what I think makes the outward beauty of my skin and stuff happen.
You have incredible skin, by the way.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's what makes it happen. I have great skin, but I am not the average bear in the sense of social ideas of what pretty is. I prefer to wear my hair wild. I do my own hair, unless my sister does it. I don't care if the parts are straight, narrow, whatever. I am very natural. I have on harem pants. I love wearing real nature as far as jewelry. So I wear a lot of woods, beads. I think you guys probably have
Right.
noticed the earthy in me. I have a goatee, but I have a pretty face like a girl. If you look in my eyes, I think you could tell I'm a girl. I feel like
Big
you could tell
facts.
I'm a girl, like
Not
real
hating on
talk.
you, fam, but like,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, right. Okay. So I would say I'm probably a mass presenting. girl to you or a very gay man? Because that's the two that I
I
get.
can see that.
I
I can
get
see that.
both. It's weird to me though, because I told you I didn't choose it in the way that it didn't come from my core. So when people still don't see female in me, I'd be like, what? So I noticed that you gotta be who you are. Because for some reason, I still come off very masculine. You know what I mean?
Could you, and I know that's a hard ask, could you, in the most concise way, explain your journey as to how you ended up with
Okay.
a goatee?
Yes, I can. I can do it concise for you. My sweetheart's been teaching me to do say stuff in one sentence, but
Oh,
I
it
ain't gonna do
don't. No,
one sentence.
it
I ain't gonna
don't
do
gonna
one
be one
sentence.
sentence.
Yeah,
That
I ain't
is,
gonna do one.
you give
But
us a story, but
I got you. So Christian roots, religious background, homosexuality is wrong in the church. I met a pastor who was 16 years older than me, deliverance minister, wanted to deliver me from homosexuality, tried, thought I was delivered. The church, including her nurse, her deacon board, they all supposedly prayed. Y'all, God, however y'all reference the creator,
they gave their thoughts and prayers.
told them, yo, this person has DNA issues. This is a very true story. Um, they took me to the doctor in Charlotte, North Carolina, on 7th Street. Not gonna name the name, just for purposes.
Nah, that's valid.
They gave me a report that I was, and I followed that thinking that Yah had showed me that I had a condition biology wise that made me think, feel, and act the way I was. So now y'all can get off of me in church about how I am
And so to
because
be
it's in my
clear,
DNA.
they gave you a medical test
Yes,
that
they my
proved that you
blood.
are a man.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
absolutely. I ended up every 3 months I had to take blood work. They check my blood work to know what dosages to give me. Anybody who's been through the process can kind of clarify this. I had to see a psychiatrist. It was a lot. And I was like, wow, this is why I'm so white. This is why. So I embraced it. And what ended up happening
Ooh,
in that embrace
bugs.
is I still like women, but I had never thought to be a man. So this woman, a year later, who was my pastor, by the way, ended up falling into love with me, becoming a man, pushed up on me. I adored and loved her and thought we would do purpose together. And I end up intertwining all of my identity into everything that she said I was.
Damn.
And now the once popularized full woman support is now coming home with no hair. I'm talking about this. This is just, I haven't been on T since 2013. No exaggeration. This is just what happens. Everybody's different. But I used to be full beard, like, yeah, big, 265, you know what I mean? 5'11.
So you ended up being in a situation where someone told you you were a man, which is like the opposite
Kind of
if you're
like how
really
they
keeping
say
it
you
up.
a stud when you first
Right.
come in, they the
You
labels, the
got
title.
labeled
And I
and
thought
you
this
went
was
through the
it.
effort of okay, aligning with your label.
Mind you, I was 24, she was 40. So let's put context with it. I didn't know I was broken and I was unhealed. I hadn't done the I haven't began the internal work. Some people say shadow work, spiritual work, whatever it is. I didn't do it yet. So I was clinging to love and someone wanting me and all these different things we go through when we're void of something.
Right.
Love in particular for me. And I was like, yo, this is it. This is love. This finally came to me. Whatever it says I am, I need, I am, I need. And I became
Now,
that.
at what point
Excuse me.
did you realize within yourself like
Sorry.
this isn't right and something has to change?
When I got home, she had wanted me to be, it was kind of polyamorous. She wanted to be in a relationship with a man and me. She wanted her cake and eat it too. And I
Don't
thought I
worry.
saw something about me.
Don't worry. It's all them bugs. There's bugs out
And
here, fam.
I didn't agree with that. I was like, that's not the love I wanted. This ain't
Right.
adding up. When I got home, I started spending time with my inner self, and I realized that the face I looked at in the mirror wasn't the one that I created. It was one that she created, and I had to address the pink elephant in the room. It was very hard because my
Yeah.
job, everybody that knew me knew only this person named Nehemiah. They didn't know
Nehemiah.
Naomi.
Oh, interesting.
And so I had to confess to my job. Mind you, I'm a performance manager in a Fortune 500 company.
Mm-hmm.
I'm over 300 some agents. Everybody knew Nehemiah. Nobody knew I was even nowhere near being a girl, let alone a
Right.
gay man. Like it wasn't on me. Okay. So I had to confess. And the great thing about when you're in line with yourself, it creates an opening space for you. My director ended up being a lesbian that I didn't know because she was so bad. Her wife and her, she talked to her about it and they covered me. They helped me with FMLA. And through the
Beautiful.
whole process, I was able to keep my job and go through transformation behind the scenes. Only had to work 1 day a week, 4 hours. As I transformed, when I told you I got real sick and crashed, that's when that happened. And I was able to just go and y'all, and I stayed true. Everybody watched my, it's on Facebook, by the way. I
Mm.
kept all the pictures up. You can see me transform. I kept them up as I go because I don't want anyone to be bewildered by my journey. I want people to see the
Yeah.
truth and understand like finding who you are. All of us do it.
Yeah.
And we got all of us got different lanes. It's crazy. And that was just mine.
I appreciate you sharing that first and foremost. And
Absolutely.
I I know better than to take on the burden of others, but an apology from me,
Mm,
the outsider of the world, to you
mm,
for does not seeing you for who you are, allowing you to make the choices for yourselves and
mm.
loving you how you need it to be.
I received that. Thank
That's
you. Wow.
that's just so unfortunate because
Yeah.
what's scarier is not just your story, but like in my heart, in my mind, I genuinely believe someone out there is going through the same ish,
I believe it too.
has gone through the same ish,
Hmm.
and I'm
And
scared to know the scale.
don't even know probably what to do, where to
And
begin.
kind of going back to the topic of the day, this idea that like we were given labels that we can't get away with. We were labeled as man. It is so hard to like uno
Mm.
reverse that. And we're not in places where we can bippity boppity boop our situation and completely change how people see us, how people
Yeah.
treat us.
Yeah.
We just have to roll with the punches. But I do believe that, you know, my journey with this podcast has been like bringing together the community that exists and
Yeah.
creating our own.
Yes.
I hope that someone hears what you've gone through, but also sees who you are.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
why we started this podcast with who you are today
Yeah. Yeah.
and then went backwards.
I love that. That's
That
beautiful.
they can say, okay, there's life after this.
Yeah. What?
Oh, we intentional about this. Ain't
The
nothing
This is
random about.
great.
Ain't
This
nothing
is great.
random about this
And
podcast,
seeds die before they grow. Listen,
fam. We
it
ain't nothing
starts at
random
death.
about the way we move
I
on
love
this
it.
pod.
I love it.
That
What's your
is
question?
the goal. No, no, you get it. We about to wrap up
Okay.
anyway,
Okay.
but I appreciate you
Awesome.
taking your time away. Like I said, we are literally at a party.
Yeah. But this
Hence
is
the water in
community
hand.
matters, yo. Like this is
But we
beautiful.
love our community enough to say,
Thank you.
hey, like, let's chime in.
That's what I made me look back. It's on.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I did the same thing.
Jesus
That's how. And you
Christ.
was like, it's okay. That's.
There's a whole bug on the
Are
laptop
you
we
close?
looking
I'll
at.
be right back.
But yeah, we about to close out. You
Okay.
good, fam?
All right.
We peacing out to
Oh,
Naomi.
okay.
I
Cool.
appreciate you. There was a whole bug on the laptop, y'all.
It was.
It scared the shit out of us.
I did the same look, but that's.
But anyway, we are wrapping up our live. Getting
Yo,
back to the party,
thank
fam.
you so much. You are amazing.
Yeah.
Whatever this person wants me to do, this person in every way. I say this person because of the no titles today. I know who JJ is, okay? But listen, amazing personality. All of us love her. If you haven't followed her, follow her. Whatever she's on, be on. I plan on being on. You have an amazing, amazing spirit. Already amazing story. I've heard stories. I know you guys probably know a lot more than me, but I know this isn't me. I'm not trying to like prolong it, but amazing.
I
I
appreciate it,
love
fam.
the fact that you've given me even a platform with my story says a lot about your character, who you are, and what you are doing. So I pray that this goes as far as it needs to go and reaches as far as it needs to reach, because everybody needs love.
Word.
Everybody needs acceptance. Everybody needs freedom. I don't care what everybody else says. So,
Yo, I appreciate it, but no, we about to wrap it up. We about to go have
yeah,
fun because at the end of the day, we gonna love on ourselves in every way
facts.
possible. But thank you so much for tuning
Thank
in. Thank you so
you.
much for listening. This is
Thank
Unstrapped the
you.
podcast. Please chime in on our social media. If
Follow,
you want to be a
subscribe,
guest,
whatever.
just hit me up on a DM. We're gonna keep doing lives in the future. I'm gonna do it better each and every single time. Just stay
Yes.
tuned here for the growth. But we love y'all. Happy
Love.
fourth.
Thank
We
you.
out, fam.
Woo.